Today, I'm going to walk you through how I would study for the LSAT if I wanted to score 175 on the January and February LSATs. For those who don't know me, my name is Steve Schwartz. I've been teaching the LSAT since 2005, and I personally increased my own LSAT score from a 152 to a 175. Now, I don't think most people realize what a massive opportunity you have now that Logic Games is no longer on the LSAT. You can narrow your focus, double your attention devoted to logical reasoning, and any gains you make in your understanding of logical reasoning will be doubled across the two sections. So I would devote at least 2/3 of my study time to logical reasoning in particular, focusing on the most common logical reasoning question types and most common methods of reasoning as well. Now, there are roughly 15 different types of logical reasoning questions if you categorize them based on the question stem, which many prep companies do and many LSAT prep textbooks do. But the thing is that some logical reasoning questions show up more frequently than others. So you want to focus on the more common types that are going to take up a larger percentage of the test, not spending a ton of time on rare types that hardly ever show up. The three most common types of logical reasoning questions are necessary assumption, inference, and flaw. I would start there and master those before dealing with the less common types that are more annoying, like parallel reasoning, for example, that may be noteworthy because of how difficult they are, but because they are not that common, you should not devote a ton of time to those particular questions. Now, there are also some fairly common methods of reasoning that are incredibly important to master. You want to be clear on the difference between necessary conditions and sufficient conditions, necessary assumptions versus sufficient assumptions, and of course, be clear on the issues with correlation, causation arguments, among other common methods of reasoning that show up on the LSAT. And aside from focusing on accuracy, you also want to be solid on your pacing, because it's not just about getting the questions right, it's about getting them right under test day conditions. So you want to do several timed sections and several full-length exams before test day itself, so that test day will be like just another run through, and you've already worked on your pacing, you've already worked on your endurance. This is why at LSAT Unplugged, we create personalized day-by-day study plans for all of our students, moving you on from drilling questions by type to doing timed sections to pulling it all together with full-length practice tests. We're not going to let you procrastinate taking your practice tests when test day is just around the corner. We pair this study plan with private one-on-one coaching and small group LSAT coaching sessions as well. If you're interested in finding out more, you can check out the links below to book a call with me and my team. We'd be glad to help you out. Now, of course, we don't want to neglect LSAT reading comp either. It is just 1/3 of the test, but you can improve significantly in this area as well. Don't trust anyone who says you can't improve at LSAT reading comp. They're wrong. LSAT reading comp passages are written in a very specific way. So even if you think to yourself, I'm not a good reader or I'm not good at standardized tests, we can always find a couple of quick wins to get you a significant boost in LSAT reading comp in just a short time frame. Even if you're taking the LSAT in just a month or two, there's a lot of low-hanging fruit that we can help you take advantage of to get a significant score boost in a relatively short period of time. It could come down to your note-taking strategy. It could come down to how you highlight and underline text in the passage. It could come down to how you allocate time between the passage text and the questions, or which LSAT reading comp passage you start with out of the set of 4. We can also help you get faster at reading difficult, dense text on a screen. There are some great tools for this I recommend. One of them is called phrasereader.com. The other is called spreader.com. The idea is you're putting yourself on an LSAT reading comp treadmill of sorts to improve your comprehension within a limited period of time. You may also want to look at the order in which you approach the questions within a given LSAT reading comp passage set. I recommend typically starting with the general global questions first, like main idea, primary purpose, passage organization, best title, tone, author's opinion, then do the detail-oriented questions next, and finally save the more inferential questions that require a bit more reading between the lines for last. Meaning, approach the questions in the order that works best for you, not just the order in which they are presented for you on the LSAT. Top LSAT test takers take control of the test and strategize every element of test day, not just from an accuracy perspective, but also looking at the order in which you choose to do things. Anyway, folks, that's all for now. I hope you found this video helpful, and in the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.